Suppose you have a couple of, I don't know, pipes. This could be a table leg, and this could be a brace coming into it, that are not just square or rectangular. And you want to cut the end of one of these to fit against the other. It'd be nice to have a pattern that you could use to lay this out, and you can do that in SketchUp. In this case, I've got these two cylinders, and I'm going to create these two patterns. This hole is the hole in the large pipe, and this shape here is the shape of the end of the smaller diameter pipe where it meets this egg shape. So I'll show you how I went about doing this. I'll start with the circle tool, and in order to create a smoother, more accurate pattern, I'm going to change the number of sides from 24 to 48 just by typing 48 in the measurements box, and then I'm going to draw a circle at the origin, and we'll make that a 2-inch radius. Now before I make this 3D, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to use the rotate tool to rotate this so that there's a side or an edge line that goes perpendicular across the axis line. That's just going to give us a little smoother looking pattern also when we get finished. We'll switch to the push-pull tool and just pull this up. We only need about 8 inches on this now. And I'm going to make that a component. I'm not going to bother with a name for this. You could. And then I'm going to make a copy of it using the Move tool. I'm going to make this one unique so I can modify it without modifying the first one. And again, I'm going to use the Move tool, and what I'm going to do is use the cardinal points on the circles to change the radius. You see how if I'm over just the edge of the circle somewhere not on one of the cardinal points, the whole circle is highlighted in blue. When I find the cardinal point, it gives me an endpoint message, but the circle is not highlighted. If I click there, I can move that in. In this case, I'm going to take an inch off the radius, and it's probably easiest if I rotate down here or orbit down here so you can see that. And then again, I'll just find a cardinal point. There's 4 of them, by the way, on a circle. They're generally aligned with the axis lines. And so now that's a 2-inch diameter cylinder. Again, after closing the component to get out of the edit mode, I'll just use the Move tool to rotate that. And I think I'm just going to bring that up a little bit. And then we'll bring that in. We just need to get this entirely inside the larger cylinder. Now I'm doing this for a pipe, but it could also be done for a round table leg with a brace. You might want a pattern for that. So I don't need the faces on the end of this large cylinder. One thing I would like to do, and it's a little easier to show you if I just put a guideline right there, is I'm going to create a sort of a cut line for the pattern by drawing a line there. Now, if I expose the hidden geometry, you can see that that line is dividing this face. So these two faces are a little narrower than the rest, but that's all right. All right, and we'll select this geometry. You see there's no black edge here where the angled cylinder passes through. So we want to create that, and I'll select that cylinder and then use intersect faces with model, and you can see that it's put that edge in there now. And we'll repeat this process here. We don't need that, and we'll select this and choose intersect faces with model. I'm going to end up drawing a seam line on this one as well, but I'll do that in a moment after I clean up the end of it. And so I can just move that whole thing out. And we'll look around here, and I want to make sure that the intersection was done completely. So notice when I select this surface here, the surface above the intersection line is not selected. That's a good thing. Just delete that and delete the cylinder there. All right. And might as well turn this back up. That'll just make it a little easier to work on when we get going there. And let's see. Let's expose the hidden geometry again and put a guideline. Again, I'll just do this because it's easier to show you what I'm doing. So there's a guideline on to follow. And it's right on the center opposite the thing. Now we'll unhide. So now we have the setup. We'll go ahead and delete the guidelines. I'm going to expose the hidden geometry again. I use this so frequently that I keep a keyboard shortcut set up. And you need to have the hidden edges shown so that you can select a single surface. And then I'm going to call the Unfold plugin. I have a keyboard shortcut set up for this, but you can get it from the extensions menu as well. And I'm going to just click on each neighboring face, and you can see how this unfolds. Then I'll do it to the other cylinder. Deleted that face. And we'll start there. And go right around. By rotating the original circle so that a line segment went across the axis line. When I get finished, we need to come back and get those. So we'll just keep going here. Make sure you get above and below when we finish, both of these patterns will be aligned with the axis lines, so we can move these around as needed. Maybe we'll just move this one up here, and in any case you can see the sort of oval shape or egg shape hole required for the larger diameter pipe, and this curve will be the pattern for the smaller diameter pipe. And so those could be printed at full scale and wrapped around your model, or wrapped around the original pipe, and you'd be all set to trace that and make the cuts.